There's a beautiful paradox in the Christian journey: the more we surrender, the more we truly gain. We often think life is about grasping tightly to control every detail, carefully orchestrating each step to fit our own desires and plans. But life, real and abundant life, isn't found in our plans alone. It's discovered through surrender to God's will. This journey of faith is a profound and humbling experience, where we learn that in letting go, we gain far more than we could imagine. C.S. Lewis reminds us that when we give up the illusion of control, we allow God the freedom to work miracles in our lives, blessing us in ways we never anticipated. True surrender is not about abandoning our dreams or passions, but about releasing our will into the hands of our Creator, trusting that His plans are always for our highest good. When we come to God with open hands, He has space to fill them with blessings far beyond our expectations. As we delve into the depths of spiritual surrender, let's consider how this act of faith can bring about blessings we might never expect, knowing that each moment of surrender is an invitation for God to surprise us. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. This scripture from Jeremiah offers us a powerful truth. God's plans are not just random or arbitrary, they are filled with purpose, hope, and prosperity. Every moment of our lives, every trial and victory, is a part of a divine tapestry that only God can see in its entirety. In our daily struggles, we sometimes find it difficult to believe in God's plans. The weight of our trials can cloud our vision, making us wonder if He is really there. But God is always working, often behind the scenes, piecing together events that we may not understand in the moment. Consider the life of David, who was anointed as a young shepherd but waited years before he saw that promise fulfilled. Through challenges and triumphs, God was shaping David's character, preparing him for a destiny far greater than he could have envisioned. In the same way, our own trials are not wasted. They are used by God to build us, grow us, and bring us closer to the incredible purpose He has set aside for us. I waited patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and heard my cry. In Psalm chapter 40, David speaks to the power of waiting on God. Waiting isn't easy. It's one of the most challenging aspects of our faith journey. Yet, God's timing is never late. It is perfect, even if it seems slow to us. When we wait with patience, trusting in His timing, we are often rewarded with surprises that are far beyond what we could have imagined. Take, for example, the story of Joseph, who endured betrayal, imprisonment, and years of suffering before finally seeing God's plan unfold. His journey was marked by waiting and enduring hardships, yet every trial brought him closer to the divine surprise God had in store for him. Through Joseph, we learn that waiting isn't passive. It's active faith in God's timing. When we surrender to His timing, we invite God to move in ways that not only bless us but impact those around us. In Romans, we are reminded, and we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love Him. This profound truth assures us that no challenge, heartache, or failure in our lives is wasted. Rather, each struggle becomes an instrument through which God's purpose unfolds, creating a masterpiece out of what once seemed hopeless. When we surrender our hardships to God, our greatest trials transform into testimonies, resonating with the power of His unwavering love and redemptive grace. Consider the story of someone who has faced profound loss, perhaps through the death of a loved one, a broken relationship, or the shattering of a lifelong dream. In the depths of such sorrow, it's easy to question how anything good could emerge. But this is where the divine mystery of God's work reveals itself. As this person turns to God, placing their broken pieces in His hands, they discover a peace that surpasses human understanding. Gradually, they begin to see the small ways in which God's love surrounds them, through the comfort of friends, a newfound purpose, or an unexpected strength that carries them forward. Through faith, the wounds of the past transform. They become scars of resilience, symbols of a journey through the darkest valleys with God's light guiding the way. Their testimony doesn't just reflect the healing of their own heart but becomes a beacon of hope for others. Each time they share their story, they pass on the truth that God's love transcends pain, that He never leaves us in our suffering but walks beside us, crafting something beautiful from the brokenness. When we let God use our pain, we gain the courage to live fully again. We learn that each trial, far from being a pointless struggle, is a step toward discovering His purpose. Our lives become testimonies of God's unyielding grace and the ways He lifts us, renews us, and redefines us. This transformation teaches us that no matter how dark life may seem, God's love will always bring us back to light, showing us, and those around us, that our struggles, given to Him, bear witness to a love that is endlessly redemptive and infinitely good. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. Fear can be paralyzing, holding us back from the life God intends for us. But God promises to go with us, reassuring us that we are never alone in our battles. When we surrender our fears to God, we break free from the chains of anxiety, stepping forward in courage with His strength by our side. The Israelites, standing at the edge of the promised land, faced immense fear. They saw giants in the land, obstacles they thought they couldn't overcome. Yet, by placing their faith in God, they moved forward, conquering the land that He had promised them. In the same way, we are called to lay down our fears, trusting that God will be with us every step of the way. Each act of courage is a testament to the power of surrender. Now to Him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine. When we let go of our need for immediate results, we open ourselves to the miracles God has prepared for us. Sometimes, His greatest blessings come when we least expect them, filling our lives with hope and joy. Miracles are not always grand displays. They can be quiet moments of grace, like an unexpected financial blessing, healing, or mended relationship. When we surrender our desires, God often moves in ways that surprise us, providing in ways that remind us of His boundless love. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. Every season of hardship has a purpose. God uses each trial to strengthen and mature us, preparing us for His blessings. When we focus on His eternal promises, we find comfort in knowing that our struggles are temporary and His love is everlasting. Reflect on Ruth's journey, who, after facing loss and hardship, found herself woven into the lineage of Christ. Her faith through difficult seasons became a testimony of God's faithfulness. Every struggle we face can draw us closer to Him, shaping us to reflect His love and purpose. God's blessings go beyond the comforts of the moment. They bring lasting, transformative change that shapes the very core of who we are. When we surrender ourselves to Him, God provides abundantly, not only with the resources we need but with a profound renewal of our hearts and minds. His blessings reach deep, touching the parts of us we may have thought too broken or unworthy. And He turns them into strengths that equip us to fulfill His purposes. In this divine process, we find ourselves being prepared for good works and given a purpose greater than we could have imagined. Consider the lives of those who have surrendered fully to God's calling, like missionaries or people who have devoted themselves to serving the vulnerable and marginalized. These individuals often step into situations that challenge them to the core, and yet they carry with them a peace, a strength, and a hope that come only from God's transformative presence. Their stories remind us that surrender is not passive but rather a powerful act of faith, allowing God to work through us in ways that impact lives far beyond our own. As we surrender, God molds us, making us into vessels of His grace and compassion. His blessings give us the courage to love more deeply, to serve without reserve, and to be a light to those who find themselves lost or struggling. The transformation He brings is one that not only heals us but equips us to bring healing to others. We become instruments of His love, our lives radiating His goodness and mercy. Through this journey, we see that God's blessings are not just for our benefit, they are part of a larger story. He blesses us so that we may bless others, allowing His love to flow through us to touch the world around us. Each act of service, each moment of compassion, and each testimony of hope becomes a testament to His enduring work in our lives. Our transformed hearts reflect His light, guiding those around us to the same love, hope, and purpose that can only be found in Him. I am going to do something in your days that you would not believe, even if you were told. Embracing the unknown is one of the greatest acts of faith. Surrendering means letting go of our desire to know every detail and trusting that God is working in ways we cannot see. Just as Abraham left his homeland, guided only by God's promise, we too are called to step forward in faith. When we release our grip on control, God leads us into lives filled with purpose, joy, and divine surprises. You are the light of the world. As we live out our faith, trusting in God's surprises, we become beacons for others. Our surrender to God's will is not just for us, it is a testimony that inspires others, showing them the power of His love. When we trust in God's promises, our lives become a reflection of His light, guiding others toward hope and salvation. Each step of faith we take becomes a blessing, not only for us but for everyone around us. Surrendering to God is a journey that transforms our lives in ways we cannot always see immediately. It's an act of faith, courage, and trust in the Creator who knows us more intimately than we know ourselves. Through each season of life, each trial and triumph, surrendering to God opens our hearts to His abundant blessings. So let go, surrender, and watch as God surprises you with blessings that exceed anything you could have planned for yourself. Remember, God's ways are higher than ours, and when we surrender, we give Him the space to work miracles beyond our wildest dreams.